Hi, everyone. Welcome to the weekly Psychic Tarot Show with ASHALA, coming to you live every Saturday on the Beyond Mystic YouTube and Rumble channels. If you haven't done so already, please remember to like, share, and subscribe over here on Beyond Mystic YouTube. Some great content. Check out two things with Penny Kelly here. Intuition Fridays. We had an amazing show the other day. Wacky Woo with Jean-Claude and Penny on November 2nd. That's a ways back now. And also, please follow us over here on the Beyond Mystic Rumble channel. Similar content, but there are some things on the Rumble channel that, of course, you can't see on the YouTube channel because it's specific content. Oh, are you seeing it? I don't know if I was showing the channels or not. Here we go. I'll do it one more time. There we go. YouTube and Rumble. And if you would like to book a session with me, you can find me right here on Beyond Mystic Consultations, where you can book a private 1-hour reading with me. These are recorded. You can go back and re-watch the recordings as often as you wish. And let's jump into a forecast for this week. How are you feeling, everyone? I'm noticing some weather reports, and I'm here. As you can see, I've got my big woolly sweater on. It's quite damp and overcast here on the west coast of Canada. Hi, Fred and Lupo. R. Tucker, a gray day in the Coots. A beautiful place to spend a gray day, I must say. Greetings from sunny Montreal, Mary Jane. I'm glad you got some sunshine. Hello from sunny Texas. Yay! Keep the sun. Bring in the sunshine for all of us. Hi, Gemma. Oracle 911. Kim. Good morning from Australia. How's tomorrow doing, Kim? So we're looking ahead at this upcoming week, which starts today, Saturday the 15th, going to the 22nd of November, 2025. And I felt a lot of what was shown in last week's overview really made sense for me throughout the week, and I've referred back to it. And that's what I want you all to be able to take away from these overviews, these weekly overviews, is if there's any little bits that show up for you and you go, oh, thank you that I knew that wasn't just my personal experience, but that was everyone's experience. So we don't end up taking certain things too personally. We recognize that there is a collective journey happening here. That's what we're going to be looking at right now. Hi, Shirley. You caught a live from UK. Awesome. Hi, Lynn Daisy, New Jersey, Southwest Arizona. Hi, Angelica. Aw, yay. So, I'm going to get started. Let me shuffle the cards and we'll tune our energies in together. I always am saying, let's focus on this heart center, open this portal of love aligned with the greater good of all. All kinds of information can come through, not just the good stuff, not just about giving you, what did they used to call it, the hopium messages. It's about giving you the full spectrum of reality, which we can really activate and actualize through the heart center. And it's this power neutral frequency of love aligned with the greater good of all. Breathe into this, everybody. Maybe even put your hands there. Give it a little tap. Tune in. Warm up this space. Yeah, beautiful. And feel your connection magnetically to Earth, to the core of this beautiful home planet. Feel that magnetic pulse or heartbeat that's creating matter out of consciousness. Tune in with that. Let it come up through your feet and your seat and let it circulate through your whole system into your heart. Bring your own heartbeat into alignment with that frequency. Breathe it deep. Exhale to relax your whole being and open up your soul star. Activate. Feel the radiant frequency of loving light consciousness that wants to connect with you. It's there, coming from every direction in the universe. Breathe it in. Feel its warmth and breathe it through every pore of your being, and exhale out anything that isn't serving you anymore. That's a very short version of a meditation that I do with my clients at the beginning of every session to help us get into the heart, tuning in together when we all come into that frequency, and it becomes a regular place, a home place. It's easy to operate from that place when you train yourself to go there regularly. So I always do that while I'm shuffling, I'm breathing deeply, I'm doing that grounding practice. I've done it so many times in the past that it comes like second nature now. Thank you, Vicki. It does feel good. Hi, Soul Tribe from a clear starry night in Denmark. Hi, Lean. Oh, beautiful. And love from the Netherlands. Love from Paris. Okay, you're going to have me crying here, folks. Yep, it's coming. The waterworks are turning on. From Tennessee. Hello from Ottawa. Woo! Feel the love. I feel it. Yep. Aww. Beautiful. Love shared is love multiplied, and we're sharing it. Radio Gold in Newfoundland. Aw. Thanks for showing up. The other side, the other coast, all the way, still in Canada, but as far as we can go, right? From one pole to the other. Okay, let's begin our big overview here. Yep, that's me. And there's the cards. Okay. Wow. That is a lovely starting point. It's a lovely point of reference. The self. You know, this card in this position, Aries is the ego, the self, the personality, and this is over the rainbow, emotional fullness, spilling over, universal energy. My apologies. I stayed up late talking to a dear friend of mine last night, and I'm a little hoarse this morning. So this frequency is multiplying, and it is that sense that as we've done these deep dives, as we've done all this healing, all this kind of purging and clearing, what comes after storms is rainbows. There might be more storm clouds in the distance, but we're coming in on a rainbow this week. We're coming in on what I want to call a supernatural high vibe frequency. And I feel as though, we've got about 10 days. Well, let's say we've got 10 days at the end of this week until the end of this month. So there's something about really focusing on how we're going to wrap up this month. It's the end of Mercury retrograde, I believe, on the 28th of November. And we really want to amp up this frequency of the heart and this frequency of almost overkill in terms of emotional generosity, gratitude, looking at the miracles in the world. So it's a time of really focusing on miracles, on beating the odds, and noticing how, as we've gone through all these trials, they're actually gradually showing us definitely where our weaknesses are. But as we one by one conquer those weaknesses, what is emerging is a brighter version of ourselves. Every time we come out of that deep dive, that, dark night of the soul, that deep purge, that healing crisis, every time we come out, we are brighter and lighter than we were before. So take a breath into that, bring that into your heart. Feel the realness of that. That is not just, as I said, hopium. That is, it's not about what's going on out there. It's despite what is going on out there, there is a renewal, a regeneration going on internally. Can you feel that? Can you allow yourself to focus on that for a minute instead of always looking at all of the bad news or all of the compromise on the outside? Can you focus on what's shifting on the inside? Take a moment to bask in the miracle of that. It's a miracle, isn't it? It's a miracle. It's nothing short of a miracle that as things get heated up, we are activated. And I do feel this has to do with sky frequency. I saw a notice about something to do with, the aurora borealis, northern lights, being visible in lots of parts of the planet this week. And whatever this phenomena is, it is reminding us that we live in extraordinary times, that magic and miracles are everywhere. It is a little tricky often to discern between, is that AI, is that technology, is that a natural phenomena? What is a natural phenomena? But it is about the feeling realm as well. I say, how is it changing you? Is it making you feel more expansive, more curious, more open to miracles, or is it making you feel more afraid and fearful and paranoid? So lean into this, everybody. Okay. Even if it looks very concerning around your security. So yeah, for some reason, I don't know why I'm being shown this, and we might be actually looking at coming into December and the holiday season as well. We might be seeing a little foreshadowing of it. And for some reason, I'm being shown that sweet, oh gosh, but The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. You know the story. And at the end, when the Grinch went and took all the toys and all the special things that made Christmas happen from the village, and thought that he had done this great thing because he had basically destroyed Christmas because he had taken all the stuff, the secure stuff, right? The physical things. Like, you can't have it without those physical trapments, basically. And then in the morning of Christmas, out comes all the little Who's in Whoville, and they're all singing their Christmas joy song. And it bursts his heart because he realizes this isn't something material. This isn't something that you can rip the security out from people. It's a spiritual dignity. It's a miracle. It's a miraculous energy. It's a frequency like Christ consciousness that you can't destroy it materially. It's beyond the realm of the material. So we're all looking at how we're still kind of trapped in that material frequency of both the enticement that this is where security comes from. This is where pleasure and good experiences come from. We've been trained to defer a lot of our fulfillment, because this is a fulfillment card emotionally. We've been trained to, you're going to get fulfillment by having these physical entrapments, by having all the gifts for Christmas and the stockings and the this and the that. And it's the stuff that is going to help you feel fulfilled. It's a commercial holiday, and we're going to get the fulfillment by buying the things and buying into that. We've been trained, certainly my generation, we were trained very thoroughly around this Christmas season. This year, by by hook or by crook, somehow it's not going to look the way it used to. It's not going to feel that. Those things aren't even going to give us that sense of fulfillment or security. We're going to maybe look to them and it's going to feel empty. It's going to feel cheesy and superficial. And we're just going to be like, oh, I don't get anything from that. Commercial Christmas is not doing it for me. So we're going to start to feel beyond that and come into a real fulfillment, joyful experience of what is underneath the materialism, the consumerism. Love that. It could be a little disconcerting. Seven of Cups there. Ooh. Okay, Gemini. Not just for Geminis, but for the part of us that is Gemini-like, which is our thoughts, communication, instant perceptions, ability to synthesize a lot of data and put it together in meaningful patterns. That's all Gemini. We got our first major arcana card here, which has to do with the Lovers are about choices. The Lovers are about, we may be starting to see the big picture of where our choices have led us and the effect. We may have, they're showing me almost like these X-ray glasses, X-ray Gemini glasses, that all of a sudden we're going to see the long range effect of these choices that we make now. So this week, you may have a real sense of, they keep showing me like putting on these goggles and going, oh, I see. If I choose this now, that's where it's going. And it's sort of like a timeline X-ray where you can see where a choice will lead, like say 5 or 6 years down the road. Wow, that is so cool, because it's sort of like a special gift, a special superpower that we might feel this week, where you're going to go, oh, I see the long range effect that this choice will have. And that's going to really help us decide. Certain big decisions are going to be made this week, everybody, around your long range plan. And if you can stay in that curiosity, don't go automatically to, oh, the logic brain going, I know if I do this, this and this will happen. Really tune into the more expansive part of your brain and your imagination and allow yourself to be shown, sort of guided. Where is that choice going to lead you? And I think some really great discernments can happen. I love that. Wow. And it's interesting because Gemini is the twins. And one way you can look at the Lovers is about the twins. You can also see it as the twin aspects of the right and left hemisphere working really well together. If you wanted to see into the future, if you wanted to get a sense of what your choices now are going to do 6 months and 6 years from now, you do need to kind of balance your intuition and your logic. You need to use both to be able to, your logic is going to say, well, your intuition, first of all, is going to say, I feel I can sense it's going to go that way. And then your logic is going to go, oh, that makes sense. I could see it going that way because of all these logical reasons. So they do work really well together. And you will likely be very strong in that balance of logic and intuition this week. So, oh, yeah. Electroculture farmer, sorry, reminds me of the movie They Live. I've never heard of that. Yeah. Oh, hi, everybody. Oh, it is noticeable that you're not wearing a ring on your fingers today. Gosh, Britt, I love you all for your observations. Sometimes I'm like, oh dear, what if I do this? Are people going to think that? Or what if this happens? It literally, I'm a little bit sometimes like a kind of a bumbly mad professor, honestly, to be really honest with all of you. Like like for example, my cell phone can sit like it's old and I sometimes forget to turn it on for like a day or two and I'll forget to put my jewelry on and then I'll be like, "Oh shoot, I forgot to put my jewelry on." I'm just not I'm a little bit in this imagination Gemini-ness a lot and it's not that I'm trying to forget. I do apologize for my whimsical lack of consistency. Yay. Okay, so let's go to the next one. So Gemini has us kind of sitting on the edge of our seat. That is a powerful card in that position. We'll see what's around it. Just be yourself. That's why we show up. We like you. Aw, thank you. That is very sweet. And I kind of laugh these days too, because I'm like, well, it's good. You can tell I'm not AI because I'm full of foibles, right? I'm always making mistakes and yeah, like if it was an avatar AI avatar of me, she'd probably always have her rings on. You get the real bumbling mad professor here. Okay. Ooh, the next major card, the next major arcana card. Okay, now we're digging in a little deeper, folks. We're down in Cancer. Cancer is to do with our home, our family, that sense of sanctuary. And we've got another major card. The major ones, heavy weightlifters. So there's heavy weightlifting in the mind, in that ability to vision the outcome of your decisions down the road, putting on those X-ray long-term timeline glasses. We also have a major card in home. Home. It's another thing that's related to that Taurus, security, safety, sanctuary. It's on hold. The Hanging Man is about being suspended. There's a sense of suspense sometimes. There's a sense of, I'm not sure what decision to make. I'm waiting for more information. You notice that with the Hanging Man, his head is down below his feet, and because the blood is rushing to his head, he is actually getting more and more conscious. That's why he's got that beautiful halo around his head. His consciousness is expanding while he's suspended, while he's hanging there, uncertain of which way to go. So a lot of things around homes. Where are we going to live? What's it going to look like 6 months from now, 6 years from now? Do we need to make a big decision? Should we be selling our homes? Should we be moving? Should we be relocating? Should we be changing our home? Anything about our home, living with family, moving away from family, all of these kinds of big decisions. And there's a lot. You'll notice that he's hanging on a tree that is forming the letter T. You see that letter T there, the large T? It represents timing. The T is for timing. And again, timelines and timing. So right now, we can't see which way the wind is going to blow. We're going to be suspended. So there may be other choices to be made first before we get a clear picture about home. Some of you have to make decisions around home pretty quickly here, but for the majority of us, it's not going to be clear. I want to say this week, the timing is wait for it. Aw, thank you. We like your realness. Thanks. Thanks, everybody. Okay, now we go to Leo, which is representing for all of us our courage, the big heart, our big courageous heart. It's also our artistry. Leo has to do with our flair, our extravagance, our extroversion, being in the limelight, all of that. It takes courage, right? It takes a big heart to step out of your comfort zone and be in the limelight, be seen, you know, wear your wild self on the outside. Let everybody see who you really are. It takes courage to do that. That's what Leo shows us. Goodness. Another major arcana, heavy lifter. Hierophant in Leo. That is a very not super common. I haven't really seen that card in that house very often. It's not something you would traditionally associate with Leo. I'm going to have to think about that for a minute. You know what? I'm going to put some more cards down because I want to say I'm just a tiny bit stumped, not in a worried way, but Hierophant in Leo. Okay, it could have something to do with leadership and guidance. Depending on how it's aspected across the wheel in Aquarius, if it's badly aspected, it could have something to do with going back and doing some repair work. We'll see. We'll see. I'm going to keep going because it's not immediately obvious. There's just a few different ways I could read that. And like I said, it's a kind of an unusual placement. All right. Virgo, day-to-day habits, lifestyle, getting stuff done. Oh, thank the productivity gods. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We all can use a productivity card, right? 1 out of 78 in the tarot is productivity. There she be in the house of daily habits, practices, discipline. Yep. Well, it's a win for all of us. You're going to get some stuff done. You're going to get some stuff accomplished this week. Your productivity level will be high. This is basic productivity 101. We're all getting a boost in that area. I'm happy about it. Bring it on. Relationships. Wow. Okay, so we have a card that matches productivity very nicely. We've got the little Page of Pentacles in Libra, which has to do with our, it's our agreements, our relational kind of agreements. Put your money where your mouth is. Put your proof in the pudding this week. So show up in relationships, especially around habits. Oh dear. And just realizing Crystal and I had a bit of a process this morning about this exact thing, which had to do with routines and habits and so on. This is something we can help each other with this week. We can work together to feel supported in positive habits. So if you're trying to do something, be it, turning over a new leaf, developing a new habit, or bringing back an old routine that you want to self-care or personal development routine, whatever it is, this is a great week to share that with someone. Like two working together to be accountability partners on establishing good routines and habits. Really fantastic this week. I'm very happy. I'm so happy about these two. Oh, and I'm not so happy about this. I'm scared to put it down. Yikes. Oh, dear, dear. Boy. Oi, oi, oi. Oh, the devil in Scorpio. Well. Okay. It's across from the 7 of Cups in Taurus. I'm a little, I wouldn't say perplexed, but this has definitely been an interesting reading. It's making me work for the analysis. You could really go down some negative spirals with the devil in Scorpio. Not an ideal place. It's not an ideal card to have there, and it's not an ideal placement either way. However, what that brings up to me is homeopathy. When you put two kind of deep, challenging things together, they homeopathically cancel each other out. Okay. Yeah, weigh in on this with me, other readers, please. Tell me about what happens to your eyeballs when you see the devil in Scorpio. It's like, wow, oh my God. Because Scorpio is sort of devilish to begin with. It's about the deep, dark shadow work. Not all of it, but it has that. Out of all the 12 signs, it's the one that would go to these places and do this deep shadow work. So big shadow work. And I always say the devil in the tarot is actually the medicine man. It's the shaman. It's the homeopathic small amount of poison that causes the catalytic healing crisis that releases all the toxin. So is there something in Taurus? Taurus has to do with, could be something around substances, even, using things like sugar or shopping or all the things that we depend on to kind of keep the lid on the old status quo. There could be some real triggers where you could have a real backlash. Like this would be where, I don't know, you indulge in something you probably know that it's not ideal for you, and you don't just get your normal reaction, you get super sick. You're like, oh, I just had a couple of beers and now I'm like, yeah, I got the flu from it or whatever, that kind of thing. It's where you're going to be walking a bit of a fine line this week where things that are needing to be cleared, shadow work, purging of old habits, addictions, it could be very big this week. So first of all, I would say go easy on any type of addictive pattern or substance, behavior or substance. Be very gentle with yourself this week. Don't tempt fate with those things. And secondly, I would say that if you have a strong reaction to something, see it as a healing crisis. Yeah. Oh, Scorpio, thin as a vile system. Yeah. So I'm just looking at this. Could I think your words aren't quite coming out there. Maybe try to rewrite that and I'll bring it up again. Thank you, Mary Jane. Um, the best place for the devil. Oh, thank you, Lupo. That is a really good way of looking at it. Yeah. So, yeah, and John is saying it's a side of us all. I wrestle with it even being a side of me and a side of us that is inside of us. So it's that feeling when you're getting sick, right? You're like, I'd rather it on the outside than on the inside, but the actual process of getting sick is not a pleasant thing. None of us like it. That's a bit of this energy this week. Let's see it because so far there's not a lot else that is really concerning. So let's see it as a therapeutic cleansing. Right? Look at how well aspected it is here between that Page of Pentacles, which is all about healthy lifestyle and habits, and the Three of Pentacles in Sagittarius, which is about setting up new systems. The three, it's a flexible, three is synergy and flexibility and play. There's a lot of play, a lot of give in this new support system that you're setting up. It looks like in the material realm, we're re-identifying what we go to for our security, what we go to for our financial safety, um, our health, our habits, our lifestyle, what our practices around holidays are, consumerism, all of it. It's not changing because our mind is telling us we want it to look different. It's changing from the inside out. We're changing. Our bodies are changing, and they're just repelling anything that is in that old stuck. It's interesting. People don't like 3D. 3D is awesome if it isn't everything heavily weighted only on 3D. In fact, that's more 4D, right? The number 3 is about energy moving, flexibility. So 3D, the density of 3D is meant to be an ongoing, ever changing, evolving, almost fluid energy. It's very malleable. Yeah, they're saying, think about it like the difference between concrete and clay. Clay is very malleable. It can form into hard substance, but when it's, rehydrated, there's this flexibility to it that there isn't to concrete. So in the house of Sagittarius, Sagittarius is the way that we expand. It's the way that we create, and we're very adventurous. We are thinking big. We are, whether we know it or not, we are already in the process of setting up new systems. Across from that, Gemini, decisions, having your timeline glasses on. I think we're going to get a lot of vision this week about how the new systems could look. Wow. You know, you may have thought of things before, and do you ever have those moments where all of a sudden it crystallizes and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I can see how it might evolve. I could see where we're going with this." You're going to have a sense this week of the light at the end of the tunnel, which is not someone else rescuing you, white hats or anyone rescuing you. This is about, you're going to actually see what new earth, your version of it, looks like at the end of that tunnel. And that's those timeline glasses. I love that. I want to make myself a pair of timeline glasses. All right, let's keep going. So now we're going up to Capricorn. Big Daddy Saturn at the top. We talk about Big Daddy Saturn because it's like that's rules. That is, culture, systems, laws, rules, uh, hard work, discipline. Saturn is a lot about discipline. It's about the actualization of these big things. It's not there yet, right? We're not there. We don't see the big changes, the big systemic changes, but we do see these creative changes. Sagittarius is a lot more grassroots. I want to say, make it up as we go along. With Gemini, that's a great line between Sagittarius and Gemini this week. Capricorn, we don't see how it's all going to play out on a larger scale. We're still being held back from seeing our greater purpose, how it all weaves together. We can't see the big picture yet, but you can see the end of the tunnel picture. You can see your timeline extender picture. So that's enough to go on right now. And look at this. Waiting. We don't know exactly. What is my work going to look like? What is my purpose going to look like a year or two down the road? Where am I going to be living? What is my home going to look like? That line is on hold right now. Ooh. Hmm. Okay, now we're across from this Hierophant. Remember I said I can't figure this Hierophant out? We're now across from it. Four of Pentacles, across from the Hierophant in Leo. Well, it still is not entirely clear to me, but it could have to do with following the status quo, because Four of Pentacles is looking around and seeing a lot of people living a small version of themselves, where we see a lot of I want to say caution, especially around finances. We see a lot of people like sort of holding back. And there is a sense here of wanting someone to come in and be the leader, to show us the way, almost like a Pied Piper energy. Show us, we're in a bit of a lockdown. In fact, if you look at overall the tenor on the planet with humanity, it's like, you know, advising not to travel. I just saw something on one of the channels, oh, don't leave your house because it's toxic air outside, and it's dangerous here. And it's like the walls closing in, right? This feeling that the walls are closing in and we're waiting for somebody to come in and say, hey, here's how you like navigate out beyond through this narrowing. Yeah, there's a real feeling of claustrophobia is the word I'm looking for. And we want someone to say, this is the way out. So, I'm gonna do something I don't normally do. I'm gonna pull a couple of cards around this guy right here, because I'm curious about. Yep. 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 There, my hunch is confirmed. So this is where we're really sitting ducks for someone to say, hey, look, I've solved it. One of the things with the Hierophant is it's leadership, but it's leadership that it demands obedience. So when you look at this character, he's got his hands in this mudra, the two fingers like that, the Benedictine of the cross or whatever, but it's actually the mudra in ancient Vedic systems of silence. So it's like, be silent. Only I get to talk. Only the character, this leader, is the only one that gets to talk. Everyone else has to be silent. And then these ones, when they shaved their heads like that back in the Middle Ages, what was that signaling? It was signaling the word obedience. You're obeying the laws of this priest, pope, like, top dog, basically, of the hierarchy, is saying, be silent, follow me, don't ask questions, be obedient. But it's not well aspected with these cards I pulled. Do you see that? And it comes into our going back to school, where we had to learn to be quiet, be obedient, listen to the teacher. We're going into our 4 to 5-year-olds this week, and notice when you feel that claustrophobia coming in, you want someone to tell you what to do. This is a little bit of another one of those slightly dangerous pivot points, because if you wanted to guide humanity, you would create the perfect environment where the walls are closing in, and then you say, I've got the way, follow me, I'm the Pied Piper. Beware. Beware if there's a silence, obedience, Don't ask questions, follow me. I know the way through this. Beware of that. You know the way through this. You've got your timeline glasses, put them on. Yeah, be wary of the solution being follow this, whatever it is, and don't ask questions. Okay, that's my 2 cents worth on that. Uh, check in with some comments. How y'all feeling? I agree. This is why that term, follow the plan. Oh, Bamlo, the Cubs got leader used to use that hand signal. It was for training the children to pick different words than shut up. Kind of fun to watch. Interesting. It is interesting. We're seeing a tricky side of the Hierophant. Isn't that right, Lupo? We are seeing a tricky side. And when, the way I teach the tarot, I actually associate all the major arcana with the ages of our childhood. I wrote a thesis on it. And so the Hierophant relates to the age 5. It's the card number 5, and it relates to our 5-year-old self, which is when many of us went to school at that age, and we had to learn to follow an authority figure outside of the home and family that was a stranger, and we were told to follow them and obey. So all that is a setup. Number one, is it appropriate to have a 5-year-old trained to follow a stranger's command? How do you feel about that? Just stop and think about it for a minute. Is that something we want to train our so malleable children at that very malleable age, that you're going to actually, their parents disappear and say, do whatever the teacher says. Whoa. Do you know this teacher? Who is this? Is this your best friend? Is this the person that you your mother and father have vetted them for the last 15 years and they know them? No, it's a stranger. It's a stranger. And your parents are telling you do whatever that stranger says. That is kind of messed up, if you ask me. And children feel that. We know that. We're like, whoa, this is scary. I can barely remember, but I remember having a feeling this is really disturbing. Everybody says, oh, yeah, kindergarten, the kids don't want to go to school because they miss their mommy and daddy. I think they don't want to go to school because they go, what is going on here? I'm told never to talk to strangers, do the blah, 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 form all these bonded relationships based on people that your family trust. And then I'm told, I'm going to leave you with this in this building with all these strangers, and you do whatever that stranger tells you. I'm just having this epiphany now, but it's a little bit messed up. And we're going back there because there's a fracture in our psyche. Something happened to all of us when that happened. Some part of us went, ooh, I don't trust this reality right now. Something's wrong with this picture. And we were forced to follow those rules. So now we're kind of programmed. It's actually our collective guides are saying it was a type of brainwashing, and it was a form of a kind of mass formation MK altering to put us into these schools with strangers. It's one thing if your teacher is your grandma or your aunt or someone that your family know and love, and you've already known them in your life. Fine. That's fine. Of course, they're an authority figure. They're older. They know stuff. That's great. It's a stranger. You're left with a whole pile of strangers. And at the age of 5, you're told you got to do whatever they tell you. Whoa. Yeah, we got to go back and heal that. This week, it's coming up. Notice where you want to follow whoever's in charge blindly. Yeah. Let's go back and heal those little 4 and 5-year-olds, shall we? Sorry, I got a little intense there for a minute. Yeah. Mm. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Hermiller. I want to tell you, you haven't heard anyone explain it so well. Guess what? This isn't ASHALA. I'm having this realization with all of you. We are having a collective healing right now. It's probably half a dozen of your guides are going to have me crying again, are here working with me. This is not me. I'm translating the guidance that's coming through. Your open heart is allowing this message to come through. Thank you. Thank you, Hermiller. Thank you, every one of you that has their heart open right now. And this is what we get to do. We get to have a therapeutic process together. Do you remember it being painful? I do. And like I just said, Gemma, my wisdom is knowing how to put all the pieces of a puzzle together like a good, wacky professor, mad scientist Gemini that I am. But this is your guidance. The wisdom is coming through your guidance. All of you. Yeah, I love it when we get together collectively. Me too, Lupo. Special things can happen. And isn't this, yeah, Vicky, I am crying too. I am crying too. It was, and what were we told when we were crying then? Right? Don't cry. Be a big girl. You can do this. Do what? Do what? What were we doing? Going against everything else they'd ever taught us? Like, there was no, I often say it would have been one thing if they said, you know what? This is messed up. And I know it's going to feel scary. And you have every reason to be afraid. I want you to come home and tell me everything that happens. And I will continue to keep an eye on this stranger. And you're okay to have these scary feelings because this is a weird situation. And I will stay on top of it. You keep me informed. That would have been better, right? Like, be honest about this. But a lot of our parents did that because that's what was done to them as well. So we're healing this. Let's have a breakthrough moment. Yeah. Yep. So Pisces, another one of these deep diving water sign. Ready for this? Whoa. Wow. The death of, so in the subconscious, look at that. Look at what's in between. The old lockdown, this locked in, that feeling of, I said claustrophobia. The walls are coming in. You're not going to be allowed to do this. You can't do that. You can't travel. You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't do this. And the smaller and smaller and smaller little boxes. And then on the other side of that, look at this. We're like break free in our emotional, the magic, the realm of miracles. There's something activating here. This is a very big week. This is a very big turning point. You don't need to do anything radical and dramatic. Go back over this overview. Take notes. I'm going to just follow your inner guidance. Notice if you're easily being swayed by don't ask questions, look this way, walk, follow me. Notice that. And what we do this week is going to set a tone. It's a node, not terrifying. Okay, there's ways that look at this, the death card across from 8 of Pentacles. Productivity. So we're going through the biggest change, the biggest transformation, letting go on a psychic level, and we're also really productive. So that's amazing, kind of miraculous, I would say. We're feeling this sense of renewal despite all of this outward stuff. We're actually feeling lighter and better. That's a miracle. We've got this ongoing experience of looking around and seeing everybody getting squished into the same little box, just like we did when we were in school. We looked around and saw the scared faces of all our classmates. Yeah. So interesting. And do you notice? Here's this teacher or leader or hierarchical one trying to say, oh, yeah, I know you're scared. Just follow me. I know the way out of here. Um, so, that said, where is your spiritual path? Who are you listening to? It doesn't mean that there are no good teachers and no good healers and no good leaders and no good spiritual mentors. It just means that you want to look not from this place of feeling like the world closing in on you. You want to look from this place of feeling, your timeline glasses and feeling like expansive and light. So when you're in this light phase, go to your spiritual teachers. If you're feeling afraid, don't follow blindly. We're breaking that habit that was taught to us in kindergarten. We're breaking that this week. A lot of that is going away. Oof. Yeah, look at that. The center. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So a tough week. The military, Border Patrol, and ICE just started their work here in North Carolina. Mhm. It's a big week, but we're all getting a heads up to increase our intuition and discernment. Mostly pentacle cards. It is at death of the financial system this week. I want to say, Mary Jane, not necessarily, because that would look different here in Taurus. There's certainly the fear factor, there's a bit of smoke and mirrors with that. There's a lot of it's interesting. I talk about this often over 30 years of being a truther and how many times I heard that the whole system was going to crash. And I had a friend, he was really big in you know, the anti-Vietnam protests in the 70s, and he was a draft dodger refugee that came up to Canada, and he was telling me about this guy that he worked for back then that was like that they were saying that the whole system was going to crash, and this guy stopped paying his parking tickets because he was like, oh, the whole system is going to be gone by the end of 1975 or something. Anyway, we were just laughing because we were like, yeah, well, we heard that last month and 2 years ago, and and I honestly, like, I'd be rich if I had a little silver coin for every time I've heard this over the last 30 years. Doesn't mean the cry wolf thing. I'm not saying it doesn't hold true and that we aren't in some serious, big transitional caca of sorts, right? Like, this is big stuff. But what I do see is it's almost like the bubble machine. When things get to a certain point, they crank that bubble machine and out comes all of this. The market's going to crash. The market's like, it's just like you can almost time it. Oh, here it comes. They're going to crank that machine and throw that out there again. And so it doesn't mean that we're ignoring that, but it also, to me, I feel like what we've seen since 1929 with all the different crises, financial crises points, the way this is happening now, it's not going to look like that. It's going to be done a lot more subtly. And so watch again, be very afraid. The walls are closing in. You're not going to have this. You're not going to have that. For one thing, don't let the walls close in. Like, step outside, travel. If you have the stomach for it, push back against these things. It's just like another form of lockdown, basically, is what I'm hearing. And if we're all staying in this time, why are we doing that? Why? If every one of us awake people at the beginning of that scenario in March of 2020, if we all said, no way, man, I'm not staying in, this would have been different. We didn't know what that plan looked like. We didn't know what it felt like. We had no idea what was happening. It was just like this crazy scenario that we got dropped into, like landing on a different planet or something. But we know now what that playbook looks like. They're doing it with everything. They're now applying that playbook all over the place. Lockdown, 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 lockdown. You can't do this, can't do that, can't do this, can't do that. Da, 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 da. Let's push. No, I'm still doing that. Oh, there's a way through this? I remember our lovely Anya Kay, the Polish lady that Janine and Jean-Claude met through on her channel. I remember working with her back in 2021, and she was traveling all over the world. And she was like, didn't get the what. And she was like, there's a way. You find a way around this. There's always a way. And if we keep pushing, it's not easy to just, like the teacher, go sit in the corner. It's interesting. I feel inspired to tell a story that happened to Crystal in her, maybe get her to tell the longer story in one of her shows next week. But she was in a smaller private school at some portion of her education. I was looking at lots of different types of alternative education, did my very best job to keep her out of the main system. And in one of those scenarios, it was a relatively small class. The teacher was being inappropriate, and over a course of a few weeks, the students started to go, hey, you know what? We're just not going to comply with this. They were like 10 or 11 or something. And anyway, they all got out. They all got up and walked out of the class and walked like, I don't know, miles and miles to somebody's house. So they staged an internal rebellion, and it was, yeah, pretty amazing, right? It's like, to know that we have a lot of power in our solidarity. It's not about fighting, it's just about holding on to what is actually sane. And if the systems are acting really insane, we need to hold that sanity and not comply just because a leader, authority figure is telling us what to do. That is us going back to age 5, and that was our real truncating our personal power right there. That's what we're working on. Whoa! It's been a real ride. Love it. I bet Crystal was the ringleader. Well, I'll let her tell the story. Kind of. She kind of was. She was in support of, she was kind of a ringleader and also kind of like a calming everybody and getting them to think rationally as well. So she was just really into supporting the group process, actually, and holding some maturity and wisdom along the way. It was amazing. It's an amazing story. Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you, everybody. Okay. Can I pull up your story, Pamela? I cut through the neighbor's yard. I could jump the trampoline. Took 4 minutes. I don't know if they ever knew, right? I mean, there's these ways that we It's not about rebelling, and it's not about resisting. It's about reclaiming sanity and our natural instincts, our natural knowing. And we were told to go against our natural knowing when we went into school. We were told to go against, and we were told to not complain about it, to not cry about it, to not ask questions. What the you know what is that? Like, seriously, what is that? That is insanity. And we were told not to ask questions about that insanity. So it's healing time, everybody. We're healing from that this week. May the healing flow beautifully. May you not get into too many weeds and snags with releasing your shadow around all of this. There's different ways that we've coped. We've used substances, we've used addictive patterns, we've used our own trauma projection on other people, we've developed bad habits to cope with all this insanity. Let it release. Ask for it to be gentle. Yeah. Let's do our little closing jog here through everything. There's how you can book a session with me, a 1-hour reading that is recorded that you can watch again at your leisure. And here is another wise soul, Cliff High. And this is, you can access, I believe it's in a link below, you can access the replay of his incredible talk on singularity. If you haven't heard it yet, check it out. It was astounding, really resonated. Thank you, Cliff, for that. And here's our lovely Janine and Jean-Claude bringing our awareness to this option that you have to join in and fill out the survey. Again, the link to that is below. It'll just take a couple of minutes of your time, and it allows us to pivot on how we are preparing the evolution forward from this place on this platform. So we'd love your feedback. Fill that out. And as always, everyone, I wish you a beautiful rest of your weekend, upcoming week, feeling all the love in this community, feeling the strength and the solidarity. We'll see you here. Before then, we'll see you here on Thursday with Crystal and I down the rabbit hole. And yeah, no Penny Kelly and I this Friday, but Crystal and I will be here on Thursday. So we'll see you then. Have a beautiful week, everyone. Bye for now.